be the biggest travesty. George Brett in July of 2000 or 1980, and we remember that because we were young kids. He batted 494, and then you had Ivan Rodriguez in June of 2004, batted 500 in that month, and then Todd Helton in May of 2000 batted 512. Those three are the only players since 1931. So that is awesome. But that's enough with the Royals. Tonight, I am honored to have guest the commissioner and owner of the Central Midwest Football League, and he is also the owner of the Kansas City Panthers, which I proudly have a ring for being associated with them, Mr. Jimmy Ross. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Fantastic. Brian, thank you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure being here. I've been here a few times, so when you contacted me and wanted me to come on the show for this week, it's definitely an honor.
Absolutely. And we are blessed to have you on the show. Now, saying this, this is also the last week of football. Now, people that are listening to the show is probably going, wow, Brian has really been gone a long time, thinking that it's gone, because technically the NFL has officially started tonight with the Hall of Fame game with the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans, but the Central Midwest Football League on Saturday will have the All-Star game.
That's correct.
And then they will have the championship game, and one whale of a championship game.
Absolutely. Yeah, the All-Star game will be at 1 o'clock, and the championship game will be at 6 o'clock.
Absolutely. So, it was at St. Pius High School, and then I guess there was some miscommunication, scheduling conflicts. So now it will be played at Truman High School.
Yes, that is correct. On Nolan Road.
Right.
3301 Nolan.
Yep. And in fact, isn't that where Harry Truman went to high school at? I'm just kidding. I know they have a lot of murals of him there because the library is between Truman High School and William Chrisman. Now, saying this, didn't Truman High School not have a football field or an adequate football field?
They've always had a football field, but it wasn't a stadium.
Gotcha.
So
do you know? And I wasn't sure about this, but do you know when they got it all built up to have this nice stadium now?
I'm not quite sure, but I do know that the turf that the guys are going to be playing on, they will be the first ones to play on this turf.
Really?
Yes.
That is awesome. That is great. So, see, we've got history in the making.
Absolutely.
So you guys are going to Christian the Truman High School football field. So that will be awesome. Now, we have two teams playing for the championship. We have the Missouri Cyclones from St. Louis.
Yes.
And they are playing the Joplin Crusaders. Now, Missouri Cyclones are the 2021 league champs.
2022.
Or, I'm sorry, 2020. Did I say 20 what? Did I say 2020? Okay, my mistake. 2022 league champ. And then Joplin Crusaders are the 2023 league champs.
Yes.
So you've got the two previous champions playing together with a combined record of 22-1. So this is going to be one whale of a game. Now, I will say this. In the National Players Association poll, the Missouri Cyclones are number 9.
Okay.
And the Joplin Crusaders are number 14. So both teams are highly ranked.
Yes.
Now, saying this, they had 36 teams, but I did not see the Oklahoma Bears, who actually, they were the third team because for most of the year, the Missouri Cyclones, the Oklahoma Bears, and the Joplin Crusaders were fighting 1, 2, and 3 all year long, with the Cyclones mainly being the number 1 team, but they were going back and forth.
Correct.
So, but actually, this has been since May 12th that those 3 teams had been in the top 3. I think for 1 second, the Wichita Skyhawks was up there. I think they
Yes.
snuck into 3, and then they got whooped and then got dropped out. So, but the Missouri Cyclones have a phenomenal defense because their 2 games that they played the St. Louis. They played St. Louis.
The Falcons or the Eagles?
I believe it was the Falcons.
The Falcons.
And they beat them 15-2. That was in the quarterfinals.
Mhm.
The Joplin Crusaders beat the Wichita Skyhawks 40-7.
Yes.
And then in the in the semifinals, the Cyclones beat the Cougars 14-6, and the Joplin Bears, the Joplin Crusaders. And you would think maybe it was an upset because Oklahoma was the number 1 seed in the Great Plains Conference, but as close as they were, it wasn't an upset. It was just a great game. But
Yeah, it was a great game.
But they outscored the Oklahoma Bears 32-27. So what I'm seeing is it's the defensive-minded Cyclones versus the offensive-minded Crusaders. So, what do you see in this game tonight, or in this game Saturday?
Well, when you look at it on paper, I agree with you. Defense versus that offense. But knowing these 2 coaches, both of them make good adjustments, and they can adjust on offense and they can adjust on defense. So that's what makes this game so, extraordinary, is because you don't know what these 2 coaches are gonna pull out just for each other.
Right.
And you have to remember, these 2 played each other in a conference title game last year. So they've been itching to get back and see each other. And what better way to put all the chips in and winner takes all.
Right, absolutely. And I guess Missouri is looking for payback because of the fact that Joplin did beat the Bears, or the Cyclones, and they're looking to get back at it. So, saying that, do you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, or do you think it's going to be a low-scoring game?
Brian, it's hard to tell. With these 2 teams,
Right.
not knowing how their practices are going right now, and the anxiety is high, and they're playing on a big stage. It's hard to say. It could go either way.
Right.
I mean, and that's the beauty of football.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless, you have to throw everything that's on paper out the window, and you still got to suit up and play.
Yes.
So there's a lot of variables to this game. That's why I love it so much.
Absolutely. So, so now with this going to be the end of the season, and I will get back to the game and the championship game in a little bit, but I would like to get your assessment on the league this year. The highs and lows. Now saying this, Patrick Mahomes last year had a Super Bowl championship season.
Okay.
Saying that, he was still angry about some of the things that happened. So even though they were the top dog in professional football, they still had a bad year. Or not a bad year, but they had bad things going on with them. So give me your assessment of the season. And before I do that, I'm going to get with your team. How did your team do this year? I know that they struggled,
Yes.
but go into details about how your team looked this year, and what was your good side, what was the bad side, and what do you see for the future for your team?
Well, I don't want to put too much time on talking about my team.
Right.
When really I want to, talk about these two extraordinary teams playing, and also the guys that made the All-Star.
Right.
But briefly on the Panthers, 27 years, and the Panthers have been in the playoffs for 19 times out of the 27 years. And I made a decision to redo the roster, and a lot of guys just wasn't ready for the speed of this game, and the mental stamina to make it through. That's one of the things that, sometimes you have to just take your lumps until you get that roster. And I look at it like this, and I've said it many times before, that the NFL has billions of dollars to buy athletes, and on this level where we're at, we don't have that kind of money to buy athletes. And so even with them having that much money, they still have to roll the dice with some teams that's still in the basement. So, it's just a temporary hiccup, and we'll make some adjustments and do some different recruiting. And the guys that are coming back for next year, getting them acclimated to the off-season weight program.
Gotcha. So, now now I've been associated with your team and I consider it my team too, so our team, for almost 20 years now. My God, I'm getting old. Anyway, but, so, saying this, how do you see the future for the Panthers?
I think the future will be great. Sometimes when you win, you lose, and sometimes when you lose, you win. And I think that this season was necessary in order to light a fire, and also we accept being uncomfortable, and it forces you to have to make adjustments. There are some teams that get so comfortable with being in a certain position and with certain ball players, and they always rely on those ball players to come back. By us making this move now to, rebuild this team, allows us to be ahead of the curve when some of the other teams, when they finally have to do it, we've already been through it.
Right, absolutely. So, and I totally understand. And a lot of times people don't realize, they just say, oh, these are just guys that they just get up and just play ball. And it's not necessarily that, but it's also not the NFL. It's also not college football, because now college football, you're getting paid to play college football now.
Yes.
Where when we were old enough to be in college, you just got a 4-year scholarship. That was your pay, was to get a education and a degree. But saying that, how for the league, because I really think that we had a very successful year, and like I said, there's always going to be downsides. What is the sky, or have you even gotten close to reach the ceiling of where the Central Midwest Football League can go?
No, I think that every year that we've put some new things in place to take it to another level with us. I don't really measure my league with other leagues of semi-pro ball, because I feel like that if you're too busy watching elsewhere, it's distracting you from doing what you have to do here. So we just try to be better than what we were yesterday. We made some mistakes this year, as we had to deal with some growing pains. We had 15 and 16 teams, we had with that number of teams and with the new personalities that came in, running these different organizations, we've noticed that we have to put more people in place in the front office to be able to handle some of the checks and balances because there's a lot of eyes that's on us. And when you're doing bad or doing good, everyone sees it. So, and that's what we want to be out there for people to see. There's an awful lot of people that started following us. And one of the missions that part of the mission was to put out more content this year than we ever have. And I think we were successful in doing that. We had people watching from all over the country tuning in, and it was nice to see that on a weekend you can pick up 2 or 3 games or 4 games that was being streamed. So we're going to take that up a notch a little bit more and try to have more interviews and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. And Semi-Pro Saturday really benefited the league by being able to provide all that. Also, Chris Dodson from Southern Sports Network.
That's correct.
So there's several sites, media sites, because I believe Chris is going to be there at the game Saturday.
Yes,
if
he'll
I'm
be
not
there.
mistaken. So, oh, and by the way, we got to get a hold of those coaches and tell them we need rosters because I am announcing the football game this Saturday. I will be announcing the All-Star game and the championship football game. And outside of last year, due to schedule conflicts and COVID for 2 years, I have done the championship game for the last 10 years. Did you know that?
Yeah, I realize that. I mean, that's I tend to go with people that I can trust, and in this business, you have to have some allies, and and
Absolutely.
there's people that's around me with this league that's, we may not be related by blood, but they are family like
Yes.
yourself. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and I mean, I have been truly blessed to be able to do that, to use my voice to connect with people like that, and I totally have enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to it again, this Saturday, and hopefully for years on down. So as long as I can still talk and still, still entertain people, I definitely will do that.
But can I say something off of that?
You can, absolutely. I want you to say something.
I had the pleasure of going down to Columbia and watching one of the playoff games. The Vipers
Right.
were playing the Cougars. I'm sorry, the Vipers and the Cougars. And my co-owner, Zach Dabney,
Yes.
went with me. And I looked out there with those guys out there on the field warming up for both teams. And I turned to Zach and I said, these guys are going to miss it so much. I don't know if they realize, what they have right now. I think a lot of the times that we tend to take things for granted. And a lot of the times the ball players don't know what's being done behind the scenes when the owners are, hustling to get monies and get fields and getting everything in place. But there's so many guys that no longer play semi-pro ball. And I've had to, been blessed to be able to meet so many people from all over. And when I talk to some of those individuals that still tune in and watch their respected team they played for, if it's still around or just tuning in, the one thing that they talk about is they miss playing ball. They miss the road trips or how much fun they had to go see how another city lives and stuff like that. So I really would like that the guys that are playing today to understand and appreciate the fact that be better than the guys that came before you, because those guys before you made sacrifices, and if it wasn't for them that played ball back then, we wouldn't have it today.
Oh,
So,
exactly. You know, you started playing, what was it, over 30 years ago with the Jazz, and then you were with the Panthers, and the Panthers have been in extinction for almost 30 years now.
yeah, and you know, I played on that championship Independence Bulldogs team. Yeah, so
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of guys out there, and they've become good men in society. Uh, you know, this weekend we've done a pretty good job. We've it's kind of a thing with the CMFL. We like having an all-star and a championship the same day. One of the reasons because it brings so many people together that's in this umbrella, and they get to spend time with each other, you know, laughing and joking, and it's not so serious other than a championship game.
Right.
But you know, I encourage guys that when they get selected for the All-Star, and whatever city is hosting it, you know, go and enjoy that city and go and enjoy your brothers that's, you know, from other teams, and you know, because you can't play this sport forever. So you might as well take advantage of every little bit that you can.
You know, in a kind of indirect way, it's kind of like my father. You know, sometimes I took my father for granted, and now he has passed on. So now all I have is the memories.
Yes.
You know, because I can't go over to his house and see him anymore. I can't hear his voice anymore. But you remember all those good times, and it makes you smile. And of course, there are always bad times, but you don't remember those. You always remember the good times.
Yes.
So like being with you, I remember going to Arkansas. I remember going to Wichita, up to Omaha. I mean, I may not have traveled the world, but I traveled. I've gone to Colombia.
Yes.
I've gone different places, you know, and I truly enjoy it. And you get to see the people, and you get to hang out with them and bond with them. Council Bluff, the team out there, you know, I mean, we were really tight. We went to Jimmy Peabody's wedding, you know, I mean,
yes.
I mean, you know, you do that because that's what happens, and it just makes that so amazing, and you know, that's what makes me so blessed, you know, because like my mom, it was like, what are you doing? Waste your time, blah, 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 you know, because she only sees just a little bit, you know, you're just like, oh, you got to concentrate on blah, blah, blah. But then she started realizing, wow, you know, and so when Travis, you know,
Yes.
had his incident, which ironically was 11 years ago today, but she never realized all the people that were involved.
Yes.
And so she came to an understanding with that. And that's what people do. And to me, that's nothing but positive.
Yeah, and today, you know, for as men, this is still a great avenue for men to be able to get together and work and get blow off some steam and relive their youth. And actually, some of you guys are very young. You know, there's guys that are 18 playing, you know, semi-pro ball. But there's been so many great stories about, you know, coaches seeing ball players that played for them 15, 20 years ago, and you thought that young man wasn't going to make it, and you know, they had some personal issues, and we deal with a lot of ball players that have some personal problems.
Yes.
But when you see them later on, and they tell you that you made a difference, or you see them thriving, you know, got a good family, got a good job, and you know, then it's like, okay, it was worth it.
Absolutely.
It was worth it.
It was, and it is so much. And with that, we are at halftime on any given Sunday on KUAW. Brian Kress, the Awesome Boys. I got DJ Scatter, George Walker behind the scenes, Coach Jimmy Ross. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to discuss more about the Cyclones and the Crusaders as they prepare themselves for this championship game in 2024. So we're going to take a break, and you are listening to KUAW.
That's good stuff.
Okay, we are back for the second half of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Brian Kress, the Awesome Boys, Darwin Penny, Coach 24. We've got George Walker, DJ Scatter behind the scenes running our show. And we've got guests tonight, Central Midwest Football League owner, well, co-owner, and owner of the Kansas City Panthers, one of the teams, Jimmy Ross. So, so we're talking about now. We'll talk about the All-Star game real quick. So, how many players, when you have an All-Star game, like in Major League Baseball, you had to have at least one player from each team, blah blah blah. So, how did the voting, or how did you get players picked for the All-Star game?
For a player to get selected for an All-Star, it's usually that team's coach or the team owner. We leave it up to them. But how we did it was we went off the number of wins a team had. So you got 2 picks for every win.
Oh, cool.
So if you won 8 games, you got 16 picks. You know, if you won 2 games, then you got 4 picks. So
Gotcha.
that's how we did it.
So, how many players will be on each team?
That's the thing. We did not put a cap on. It worked itself out
Oh.
by the wins and losses.
Cool, that'll work. So now saying this, if I am a person and I'm listening to this show and I am interested in wanting to attend the All-Star game, the championship game, what do I need to do? Money-wise, everything. We'll just start from the bottom and just tell me, how do I get to that game on Saturday?
For either one of those 2 games or both games, just show up. We take cash out, Venmo, Apple Pay. So there's different ways you can pay.
Now, how much is the fee for going to the game? How much does it cost?
For the All-Star game is $10. For the championship game is $20. But if you're gonna watch both, then you get a reduction in price and get the combo package for $25.
Gotcha. Now, is that everybody, or is youth?
The youth will be half price.
Okay, gotcha. So, saying that, and we have talked earlier, it is at Sherman High School.
Yes.
So, how early can you get to the stadium? If somebody just wants to just come out there and just totally view the extravaganza of the whole day, what time does it roughly start?
They can get there at 11:30.
Cool. So, will there be jerseys for the All-Star game, or will they have to just wear their game jersey?
Oh no, they have all-star jerseys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Cool. So, I don't know if I should ask this. Well, I guess you got one that's dark colored and one that's white or light colored, or is it just
Red, white, and blue for the Great Plains,
okay?
and red and white with a little bit of blue
Okay.
for the Gateway.
Oh, okay. So, now, knowing me, and you know me, I am a jersey person. can a person outside the teams purchase jerseys or purchase T-shirts, or how can they do that?
If there's additional All-Star jerseys can be purchased after the event. Not there, we'll take an order.
Okay.
So,
And if we do that, we taking it by telephone, we taking it through email. I am, I do a sports show, but I am
information at the gate.
okay. There you go. That's what I wanted to hear. So, anyway, if you guys are interested, definitely go. You guys need to bring family out. Bring your kids.
Yes.
Bring the parents. I see when I announce football games. I see all the. Like when we have a home game and then the other team is coming in as a visitor, and see all their people that they bring, their families.
Yes.
Brothers, so-called brothers, I enjoy seeing that because the fact that you get to visit with them. It's almost like going to a Royals game, especially like the last few years when the Royals haven't been very good, and you're sitting out there. But then you got this team, you got the visiting team, you got a person that is out from there, and you
Right.
get to chat and everything else. So when you do, they're coming in from Columbia, they're coming in from St. Louis,
Arkansas.
or Illinois, or Omaha, Wichita, all that. And it's so cool to chat with all of them because, yes, you can talk with people here in Kansas City, but you get more joy when you're talking with somebody out of town.
Oh, absolutely. And then also, you have to think about throughout the years, the CMFL moved the championship game around to different locations. So a lot of people were coming into town and use it as a vacation and go and see the zoo or the memorial or the nightlife.
Or
So,
the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
oh, you got to see that.
I tell people all the time to go do that. And Bob Kendrick has just been, he has been on fire, running around. And I will say this, and I don't want to interrupt on the football part, but I was at the game Sunday, and the Kansas City Foundation, the Royals Foundation, gave the museum a check for over $202,000. It was just amazing, and so they are getting ready to build a new museum, which is over by where the Sale YMCA is, I believe. I don't know I don't have the exact location, but
Okay.
they are moving it from where it is at now. But saying that, people need to go see that museum now, and then when you see the new museum, then you'll go, wow, exciting.
Yes.
But yeah, when you come in another town, you got to do all that. So like when you go to Omaha, you go see the zoo because the zoo is considered one of the best zoos in the Midwest. You can go see Gerald Ford's museum. Now it's not as big as Harry S. Truman's because of course I'm a Missouri guy and I'm a Truman. I'm more of a Truman fan, but still, you get to see stuff like that, and so. No, you're not going to Mexico. No, you're not going to Disneyland or Disney World or places like that, or see the Statue of Liberty. But you get to see other places, and that's what makes it so amazing. So yeah, we're playing football, and it's not the Chiefs and the Raiders. It's the Panthers and the Vipers, and it's the Crusaders and the Cyclones. But it's still the same thing. If you go to Raiders, you're going to go to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Or even when they were in Oakland, you go to Oakland, you're going to go visit their sites and stuff.
Yes.
So when you come in,
Try the food.
yeah, there you go. Because even though we have the best barbecue, so I mean,
I agree.
everybody
and-
comes in. Yeah, I know St. Louis thinks that they have the better, and Memphis thinks they have better, and Arkansas thinks they have. No, Kansas City barbecue is the best.
I'm in Kansas City, so
Yeah.
Kansas City barbecue.
Yes, Kansas City barbecue is the best. You go see that. Go to the Liberty Memorial. I have a friend who works there. He would give you guys an absolute tour of that museum, of the Liberty Memorial and Union Station
The aquarium.
and the aquarium. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I mean, and the zoo, and you've got so many different places. But saying that, we're doing this because everybody needs to come out, and we're gonna send it out. We've got this on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, so we will make sure that we get this all out so we can try to share it with everybody so people can see this, give them to the coaches so they can pass it on down to their players and everything else, so they can try to enjoy these festivities that we have.
Mhm.
I remember, if we have a game that would be in Joplin, I remember going to Joplin, what was it, almost 15 years ago, where that tornado went right through the town.
Yes, I
And-
remember.
And I mean, that was not a good thing, but still, to look at it and just go, wow, I mean, what Mother Nature did. I mean, because it was literally just like a path. It was almost like when you do farming,
Mhm.
and you got that big old
Yes.
tractor that goes right through and gets all the wheat and barley or whatever. They're doing that, and they just put a drive right through it. And wow, I mean, I remember looking at that, and I still to this day is just like, and and Kansas City has that stuff. They have the Urban Youth Academy. They have the Jazz.
Yes, jazz.
Kansas City Jazz. So if you don't want to go to the baseball museum, go next door. I mean, it's in the same building. Go to the Jazz. Check that out. It is all awesome. It's amazing how you can do a lot of stuff in Kansas City. So this weekend, you got the Cyclones and you've got the Crusaders. You got the Missouri Cyclones from St. Louis and the Joplin Crusaders, and they are playing in the championship game. And the fans that are coming up, you got to check it out. Definitely, just do a tour of the town, and then enjoy some football.
Yes,
Absolutely.
an all Missouri championship.
It is an all Missouri championship. I mean, we had more teams in this league coming from outside states than we've ever had.
Yeah.
And yet, the two teams still reside in the Show Me State. So,
Yeah.
so I guess the other states didn't show us nothing. Just, but I'm definitely looking forward to the game. I'm definitely looking forward to the All-Star game and meeting new people. I remember 2 years ago I met James Ward, Skinny Ward, and
Yes.
we announced the game together, and it was just amazing. We had just met maybe 15 minutes prior to the game, and we just clicked just like John Madden and Pat Summerall. You know, I mean, he was doing all the booms and stuff, and I was Pat Summerall, just being the straight guy, and he was being the landish comedy guy, and we worked well. So, and I would love to see him again. Do we know if he's coming out? Because I know that with the Cyclones coming from St. Louis, that's where he's at. But I also know that he has a network that he does too very well.
Correct.
But he won't be here this week.
I haven't talked to Skinny.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get.
I'll have to reach out to him.
Yeah, because I would love to do that. So, but we are getting near the end of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. We got about 5 minutes left. So, now I don't have players' names, but I do have the two quarterbacks. We have Jacob Understall, who is the Missouri Cyclones quarterback, and then we've got Kendall Holmes, who is Joplin's quarterback. And like I said, they've led their teams to a 22-1 record during the season. Even though Missouri Cyclones have been defensive-minded for these playoffs, and Joplin has been more offensive-minded because Joplin has averaged 36 points a game, whereas Missouri Cyclones have only averaged 14.5 points. But their defense has only averaged 4 points per game, whereas Joplin's defense has averaged 17 points per game. So, yeah, so this is going to be a really interesting game. So, saying this, who do you have winning this game? Does Joplin go back-to-back, or does the Cyclones take the title from them?
Brian, you know I don't have anything.
I know.
A favorite.
I know. I set you up. So, I have. And I haven't. I did see the Cyclones play, but I had not seen the Crusaders play. Now, saying this, I am just going to say this purely out of just me and my knowledge of football. I know Cardis. I know you know that I don't have no knowledge of football, but that's beside the point. I think I'm not going to pick a winner, but I think it is going to be it's going to be high scoring towards the first part of the game, but then in the second half, it's going to be key defensive stops that will determine the game. I'm going to say that the game will be decided by a turnover in 2 minutes, with under 2 minutes left.
That's possible.
What decides that game.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick a winner.
No.
But I was picking how the game will end. And they will end as one team is driving to get the winning score. A turnover will happen, and it will decide the game.
Wow. Let's go.
Let's see how we do this. So definitely, but we are at we're at the end, and I appreciate everybody with me getting back in the rhythm and everything. And you realize there are people, we do this show, and people go, oh, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I would really love to see people just come in here and do this, because I've seen people try to they've had 10 pages of stuff to talk about, and it went through in 5 minutes.
Right.
And they're like going, So,
Give
and
them
then we've got our guy working on the computer for us. So, now what was your name, sir?
Professor Smooth Jazz.
Yeah, Professor Smooth Jazz. So, definitely.
Can I get a nickname?
Can you get a nickname? What would you like for a nickname?
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I will come up with a nickname by Saturday.
Okay.
So, I'll have to. Ooh, that is going to be interesting because you've never had a nickname. I've
No.
always known you as Coach Jimmy, Coach Ross. So no, we got to do something about that. So we're going to.
Give them the time.
Huh?
Give them the time and location again.
Oh, so Saturday, 1 o'clock is the All-Star game. At
Yes.
6 o'clock, the championship game. We got the Missouri Cyclones that are 12-0. They are ranked number 9 in the Midwest National Players Association poll, and they are playing against the defending champs, the Joplin Crusaders, who are 10-1 and ranked 14th in the nation. And they're going to try to see if they're going to go back to back. It is at Truman High School, and for anybody wanting to know, it's on I-70. If you are at Arrowhead Stadium or Royal Stadium or the Truman Sports Complex, you go east on I-70, get off Nolan Road exit, and then you go left or go north, and you will go roughly about less than 2 miles.
Yes.
And it's roughly 33rd. It's just past 35th and Nolan Road. There used to be a Quick Trip. I don't know if the Quick Trip is there. I haven't been around there for a while. But there is a Sonic at 35th and Nolan Road. If you look to your left, there's a Sonic. And there are some restaurants there that you can go to. I know the Quick Trip is down at the bottom of the hill as you go over the bridge when you go on Nolan Road, right off I-70. But down there used to be like two Quick Trips. I mean, we have a lot of Quick Trips. If you do not have any Quick Trips, this is the place to find Quick Trips because you will find Quick Trips all over the place. But anyway, it's at Truman High School, and the field is behind the school.
Yes.
So I believe you got to turn in just past the school, right next to an Enterprise. I believe that's Enterprise.
There is
Car
an
rental.
Enterprise.
Right. So you turn on that street, you turn right or turn east,
You can't miss it.
and you can't miss it.
It's
So-
right there on Nolan Road.
Right, absolutely. And so at 1 o'clock, we have the All-Star game, and then at 6 o'clock, we will have the championship game.
Yep.
And this will be the final game for the season for the Central Midwest Football League.
Yes.
And Coach Jimmy Ross and owner Jimmy Ross. And with that, we are at the end of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Coach, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Greatly appreciated. And I hope that we could pimp them enough, pimp your league and pimp your teams very well for you. Next week, I have Shane Allen supposed to be coming on the show. So, but everybody, please make it out there. Come see the game. And with that, I am Brian Cressy Ossenboys with DJ Scatter, George Walker, and Coach 24, Darwin Penny, and our guest, Jimmy Ross, Coach Jimmy Ross. Be awesome, not angry, and you guys have yourself a phenomenal football weekend.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,